welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. I have here another pen unboxing. I've had a number of these Asvine pens. You'll see here it says Asvine Writing Instruments, and I have to say that this is an interesting pen for sure. So I think let's unbox this pen, and you will see here it says Asvine again, fountain pen instruction manual. Comes in this plastic protective case, hinge case, which I do like the look of, and I think we could reuse actually. So from a recycling perspective, we could use it, put other pens in it as well. So you get the Asvine fountain pen instruction manual here. Just go through how to fill your pen. You get a sort of piston removing tool, which I actually do like the look of. I think they're copying TWSBI there. And then you get this nice pen here. Now, this pen was gifted to me by a friend, Dr. Joe Vitolo, and he sent this. He bought this on Amazon and shipped it to me. He's in the US, I'm in the UK. This is an interesting pen. I do like the look of this. It is a steel sort of overlay there with a chrome finish, and it is a piston filling pen, so I've got to be a little bit careful there. You will see it says Asvine there, and it says P80, and P80 is the model number. There's nothing more on the cap finial there. This actually kind of reminds me in the cigar shape a little bit towards a Mont Blanc pen, but obviously quite different. I'm just thinking of the, I don't know, like the UNICEF maybe. It looks a little bit like that, but the UNICEF isn't an overlay. It's more of a metal with sort of colour over it, like blue colour with symbols. Now, if I unscrewed the cap, you'll see here it has a number 6 nib, and Joe knows I like medium nibs, so he got me, thankfully, a medium nib and not an extra fine nib, as Joe is normally into extra fine nibs, and I'm really not into extra fine nibs. But in the size of my hand, this is actually quite a nice size. Can you post the cap? You can. It is kind of posting onto the edge of that piston knob. So I'd be a little bit careful when posting that, because when you go to yank it off, you twist the piston knob, and you could let ink out, but also you could snap that at some point. Most of the pistons are normally plastic rods inside, so I would just be a little bit careful on posting caps on piston filling pens, unless the cap posts onto the body more, in which case then yes, go ahead, it should be safe. But in the size of my hand here, you can actually see that this is a decent size of pen in my hand. I like the weight of it. It's actually a metal pen with a blue resin underlay here, so you can see you've got what is a chrome overlay. You can feel the overlay. It's not sharp though, but you can see that there. It really is quite nice. You can get this in different colors. This one is in blue, so this I think is quite striking. Very much reminds me of, say, like the Visconti watermark that I have, although that is more of a flat top pen. But really, it is a nice pen for sure. So thanks to Joe for sending me this pen in for review. I think with that, let's go and look at a size check. We'll do a weight check, we'll do a pen comparison, and then we'll do a writing sample. So, the length of the pen, we are looking about 150 millimeters in length. The length of the cap, we're looking about 67 millimeters in length. And then if I unscrew the cap, we'll take a look at the body there. We're looking about 130 millimeters in length. So 130 is normally what I would say is Anything over 130 or over is normally what I class as an oversized pen, and I think you can see that in my hand. It is actually a decent size if I'm holding that on the section there. If I hold it up here a little bit more around the threads, you can do that. The threads are not sharp, but it does obviously make the pen look a little bit shorter in your hand. But I find that very comfortable. Although the section is metal, I know some of you will say, oh, I don't like metal sections because they are very slippery. This I do not find slippery, and I'd have to say probably a lot of metal section pens I do not find slippery. It kind of feels, it's definitely a metal chrome section, but I kind of, even though it's polished and shiny, I kind of feel like there's friction on it when I rub my finger across it like that. So it's not slippery for me, and we are in summer, so from that perspective, I think that's pretty good. I think let's now do a weight check. Now, this is inked up. It is a piston filling pen. We are looking at just over 54 grams in weight. So you can see there that that is quite a weighty pen. The weight of the cap, we're looking at just over 21 grams in weight. And then the weight of the body inked up, and it's going to roll. We're looking at just over 33 grams in weight. So this really isn't a light pen. It's not the weightiest pen, though, that I have in my collection. Not the heaviest. But it is a nice pen. So, as I said, it is a piston filling pen. You can't really unscrew the section there. But it is a piston pen, and you can see that piston mechanism there. So all of this bit here is filled up with ink. There's a little bit of gap there with the piston rod, and then you've got the piston itself. So it is a decent weight pen for a piston pen. I really do like the weight in this, and I have to say, I did have to tune the nib a little bit on this one, like I do with all Chinese pens. Asvine, though, I would say I have to tune it a little bit less than maybe a Hongdian or a Jinhao, but that is actually writing really nice, and does make me actually want to perhaps get a few more in different colours. So I think with that, let's do a comparison with other pens. So from left to right, we have a Magna Carta Mag 600 in the Azure. We have a Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. We have a Parker Duofold Centennial, and this is in the Godwin in gold. We have another Parker Duofold Centennial in the Godwin in silver. We have an Asvine, and this is P80, P for piston. We have an Asvine V126, V for vac filler. And then we have a Magna Carta Mag 600 in the Obsidian, a Parker Duofold Prestige in the Burgundy Chevron, an Anoto University of Oxford, and an Anoto Charles Dickens, and this is a David Copperfield. So I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So this is the Asvine, or Asvine, depending on how you want to say it. It's the P80. And as I said, P for piston, V for vac filling pen. And thanks to, I can't remember who it was, but one of my viewers did mention that in the comments. And I hadn't actually realised that. And I've mentioned it to a few other people, and they hadn't actually realised that. So it's actually a really good shout out. So thank you for that. So it's an Asvine P80. And it's a medium, and it's a steel nib. And I really love how this is writing. Now, the ink in here today is Waterman, and it's Inspired Blue. And that is a really nice sort of turquoisey coloured ink. In terms of line variation, I would say you're probably getting about a medium western nib width there. If I push it a little bit harder, you do get railroading on this nib, which is interesting. I don't think I've seen that on a nib for a long time. So if I press there, you can see every time I press, that's where it railroads. Now, if I do some more vertical lines, if I'm not applying pressure, I get no hard starts or skips. But if I do apply the pressure there, I am getting that sort of railroading there, which is an interesting thing. Maybe I need to floss the tines a little bit more, but I think really, one thing I've noticed is if I maybe prime it a little bit more and then try to, oh no, maybe it's still not going, there you go. If I prime it a little bit more with a bit more ink, it doesn't railroad as much. Now, in terms of ink wetness, let's take a look. To be honest, I think this is fairly wet. So I don't think I need to floss the tines anymore on this nib. It's not a fire hose nib. I just think that maybe that piston isn't fully keeping up. It's not a flex nib. It's just a steel nib. But if you apply pressure, the ink does cut off. And it possibly, I've not looked at it, but it's possibly that the nib is lifting off of the feed. And maybe that's where the capillary action is stopping. And that's then causing it to railroad a little bit more. What do I like? What do I not like about the pen? I love the finish and I love the color. I love the blue color resin, and I love the sort of chrome steel overlay that is on this pen. I like this a piston filling pen as well. I do like the vac filling pens as well, but this piston, this very much reminds me of a Visconti watermark. I've got other Asvine piston filling pens as well, and similar overlay, but they were flat tops, I think. I want to say, let me have a look. Yes, they are. I'm just having a look at another one I've got here, and that is a flat top there. So I've got the flat top versions, slightly different pattern though, and now I have the cigar shaped. What do I dislike about the pen? Chinese nibs, I typically find 70% of the time I have to try and make the ink flow better by flossing the tines and smoothing the nib. I didn't have to do as much on this Asvine than I would on a Hongdian or a Jinhao. This didn't need much at all, but I still needed to do it because it still was not as smooth as I would like it. I think that's probably the main negative that I would say about this pen, and it's the same with all Chinese pens. I just find that compared to Western nibs, that you do need to do more with them. If you don't mind a scratchy nib or a toothy nib or a crisp nib, then okay, you probably don't need to do anything with it. But other than that, I like the pen. It was sent to me free from Dr. Joe Vitello. So thank you, Joe, for sending me that pen for review. And I do like it, and I'm writing with it a lot now that I have tuned that nib a little bit. So there you have it. That's my unboxing and review of the Asvine P80 in a medium steel nib. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.